Oh, hello, my friends. Just lovely to see you all. As we're gathering today, what was occurring to me is when we give attention, I'd like you to just tune into when you give attention, how is it that you're organizing yourself to do that? Now, whether that's giving attention to a friend, or to traffic or to where you might want to speak up in a conversation. I'd like you to just notice when you're getting ready to give attention, how do you do that? Because I want to distinguish that with something else. So when I'm getting ready to give attention, I can feel myself sort of gathering toward the middle, and I find my attention sort of coming up and out. It used to be, very, like I had we used to do that upside down thing where you're looking out through the fan of your eyes. But if you're just giving through your eyes, in fact, like just giving attention to other people on the call here, just through your eyes, and then notice how that organizes the rest of your body. And so I think it's part of what makes us very head centric. So when I do that, my head comes forward. I start to feel a little tension in the back of my neck. And I find when I'm narrowing that I start looking for what's wrong. Because I think how we shape our body really influences what we see and how we make meaning of what we see. And so if you let yourself gather and give attention, like letting it come up through you, just notice how that's different. When you're giving attention from lower down in your body, from your heart or from your belly. So giving, and I also find I have a little bit of holding my breath when I'm giving. I sort of take an in breath and then I'm giving attention, and I realize I have a little like, oh, I must be a little fear that like, oh, is this going to be received or am I doing it right? And so there's just a little bit of decreasing my attention. So let yourself just be with that for a minute and then notice whatever your body needs to do to balance, to kind of balance yourself. Because I think we do this most of the time. We are giving attention or we're paying attention. So let yourself do probably just a little. I find a little oozing is very helpful because I tend to, get tied up across my shoulders. But you might also have a little bit of holding in your belly. So let yourself just notice what your body wants to do to recover, giving attention to you. So when you give attention to you, there's this whole other thing that comes up, which is receiving. And my sense is that our givers and our receivers are way overbalanced. That I bet if were to, had somebody who had a little clipboard and were checking how many times you were giving attention and how many times you were receiving, there'd be lots and lots of receipts on giving and not so many on receiving. So when you're allowing yourself to receive, how do you organize you? And this is an ongoing question, and there won't be a grade, although there is kind of a grade because the universe is responding to how you're organizing yourself. So what would happen if you really let yourself get willing to receive? I was just thinking about, there was this old tea commercial where the person would fall back into the pool and just in this big receiving mode. So what would be just an extravagant receiving that you could do with your body, even though you might think, oh no, this is too silly. This is, you could even turn your camera off so nobody sees you doing it. But I'd love for you to experiment with being extravagantly willing to receive. And you might even say that so that you let that part of your brain operate too. I'm willing to receive lots of attention. I'm willing to receive attention. And then notice what your body wants to do. And what you may have come up is fear. It's likely that you will have fear come up because even something really good, if it's not familiar, can get our little fear hackles up. So you can combine opening to receiving with fear melters. So wiggling, feeling your feet. I'm letting my feet bounce right now, so I can feel that reverberation up through me and letting me wiggle. And now I'd like you to let yourself, the main thing about loop of awareness is that you're shifting your attention. And so the shifting allows you then to create a rhythm. And what I was noticing, especially when I was recovering, and I'm still recovering, but when I was recovering from long COVID, my rhythm dropped out. I noticed that everything became kind of a and when there was started to be some little blips, the first little blip was that I began to notice up. Oh, the sense of up and then down and then, oh, bouncing. So beginning to get rhythm and beginning to get rhythm in my walking. We can also have rhythm in the way we use our attention. And that is going to refresh your whole nervous system. It's the simplest, the easiest, and the most effective thing you can do, especially if you add your breathing, to let yourself, ah, in fact, let that same kind of receiving, let that just pour out like in giving. Ah, you're just giving your attention like you're throwing out a big bouquet of flowers and you're just, throwing them to anyone. Here's my attention. And then you're receiving big bouquets of flowers and letting yourself receive that and take that in. And let yourself do that a few times in your own rhythm, because I want you to just notice if that increases both your sense of what's my rhythm today, but also your sense of aliveness. And I find that now my spine is asking for attention. So as you're doing this, parts of you are going to speak up and go, I would like some attention. So here's the other thing I would like you to tune into is, what kind of attention would you like? And that's something that we can give to each other, because this is our practice. And you can also give it to yourself and give to others, as you move through the day. I've realized that most of us have a fairly truncated menu of attention, the attention that we would like, the attention that's possible. I was just thinking about, I was reading something other day, and people were distinguishing. They were asking if someone would like them to listen. Would you like to have comfort or solutions? Which I thought was a wonderful, distinction. So would you like me to just be with you as you're feeling this and being with, or would you like me to collaborate with you towards solutions? So those are two kinds of attention. There are a whole bunch more. So I invite you this week, especially, to tune into, what are your favorite kinds of attention? What kinds of attention are you maybe more shy to ask for? What kinds of attentions do you maybe not even know are possible? And if you'd be willing to, you could write some of those in the chat, the kind of attention that you would like. And at the end of our session today, we can give you that kind of attention. So we can all practice giving and receiving the kinds of attention that we want. And so now I would like to show you the card for today. We've gone through all the cards in the Impeccable deck. So today I just picked one at random, and this is the one that came up. So I would love for you to give your attention on into the collage, and then give your attention back to you and notice what happens in you as you kind of take in the shapes and the colors and the movement. How does that interact with your insides? And I'd like you to keep doing that while I read this to you. I'll read the sentence first. I initiate conversations with authentic expression, as well as responding to others' initiations. Ooh, that's a big one. I initiate. So this is an opportunity for you to tune into, do you wait? Do you wait for the right moment? Do you wait until somebody maybe looks at you? Do you wait until everybody else is finished? So you're waiting your turn. So initiating is an incredibly powerful skill, especially for those of us who think, well, if I'm giving, other people are going to give back to me. If I'm just waiting for that, you could wait a long time. So I'm going to read the question. How can I source and initiate authentic speaking in any situation? For example, initiating real communications without having to be begged, threatened, or coerced. So, how can I source and initiate authentic speaking in any situation? So, there are two really important skills there. Let's come on back to the big group. I love how he's doing a kind of thing that we were, like we were flinging ourselves, like giving. So he's flinging himself, out into the cosmos, which it's a big leap. So when you were playing with that, I imagine there are two challenges here. One is actually initiating. And for me, that made a huge difference in my ability to co-create, especially with Gay, because if I waited for him, he could just carry on the conversation. And if we were presenting, he could just do that forever. So I know, and in fact, in the first part of our relationship, I remember one conference we were at, and and he was talking and sharing him. And so at the break, I said, I have some things that I'd like to say too, and I wonder if you could just make some space for me. And he said, no. And it was I went, but this is not nice. And this is how you're supposed to be in a relationship. And what he said was really a life changer. He said, if you have something to say, to go ahead. You speak up. And what I heard was, you occupy your own power. You can speak up. And when I did that, lo and behold, there were two whole people there rather than one who was waiting to initiate. And so, this can go all the way back. We could talk about pre and perinatal psychology, because I often think, that we are eggs and sperm with illusions of grandeur. So initiating is not an eggy thing to do. Initiating is the spermy thing to do. But we all have egg and sperm in us. So we don't have to go, oh, I can't possibly do that, because you can. And initiating. So the second part of that is initiating with authenticity. I have found that over and over again to be a game changer. When somebody initiates something authentic, it literally opens up shadows, things that hadn't been communicated, but it also opens up the possibility of co-creating. So let yourself, just right now, I'd like you to just say something that is authentic. So just letting yourself say something, and you don't have to unmute yourself, because I would like you to just notice what's authentic right now. So just had a little frog there in my throat. So it doesn't have to be profound, but I'd like you to just notice, what can you say right now that's authentic? And if you're not finding that, I'd like you to notice, what are you doing? And my guess is that you might be in some kind of fear. So either a faint where you're not having any thoughts, or, a freeze where you're afraid you're going to get into trouble, or a fleeing into what you're going to do after this call. And can I just put myself out of the call right now? So the my sense is, especially right now, especially here in the States, because we're coming up to a very, very important election, that you may hunker. Like, I'm just going to wait until the storm passes. But this is the time, there's that saying, waiting for the storm. And then a woman comes in and says, I am the storm. So I think it's our time now to rise up and initiate authentic conversations. And, if that disrupts things, it's time for big disruption. So I invite you to let yourself play with that. And so now I'm going to take a little drink of water. And I'd love to share with you Presence Connect Play. And for those of you who may not have been here in a little while, I wanted you to know that on the Presence Connect Play app now, if you go to the homepage, at the bottom, there's a question mark on the right-hand side. And if you click on the question mark, it takes you to the website that has more information on each one of the Presence Connect Play moves. And so I'm delighted that the app goes directly to that now. So it just gives you a lot more to play with, a lot more to explore. Their little videos, their instructions about how to do it, some applications. And so it's going to give you a richer time when you're exploring Presence Connect Play. So presence today is give yourself a drop of love. And that's one of my very favorite ways to presence myself, because I have this sense of, and you might also, that I have to do it all. If I'm feeling, if I'm feeling not, I'm sort of feeling, that I have to completely switch, to make till I'm ta-da, or I haven't done anything. And the drop of love, when you have a squeaky door, it literally is really only a drop of the oil that can make a difference in the squeak. And for us too, a drop of love applied where you feel most squeaky can make a huge difference. So I'd love for you to get yourself a dropper and get a dropper of love, and then feel into where, and you're like right at the nape of my neck here, in back here. I'm going to give myself a drop of love. And then this gives you a chance to receive. So you get a drop of love and then letting it percolate. Yeah, beautiful. And drops of love, I often find too, that sometimes, if I'm feeling really loving towards someone, it may be too much for them. They may not have, their receiver may not be very open. And so when I'm with people, especially who look like they're in distress, to me, I give them drops of love. So not a big gusher, because I can do that. And I literally, the first time that I was doing that with somebody, they fell over. I sort of, a little love tsunami, and it was fun, but it was also like, oh my God. So drops of love, and also little, there also, I was thinking of the sensory experience of a particular kind of brush on my face. If I'm, I don't wear makeup, but it just came to my mind that I have these brushes that when I'm on doing television, or Zoom, not you guys, but Zoom, where I'm trying to look different than I am. There's a brush, the feeling of a brush, or the fur of a cat, that kind of quality that you can give yourself. So drops of love can also be just a stroke. One of my favorite things that Gay does is sometimes when he's passing me, he pats me. To me, that's just so delicious. So drops of love, pats of love, rather than I'm gonna love you up, which may be wonderful, but it may also be a little overwhelming. So it's nice to have a continuum. So connect. Choose to see, oh boy, this is another really powerful one. Choose to see others as allies on the same team. I think this is the most important thing that's going on in the US right now, is the possibility of seeing others as allies. And I invite you to think of somebody in your life with whom you've had, ongoing, especially recently. It could be not even a close friend. It might be a neighbor or somebody that you see at the store, but that you have that kind of gritty relationship with. And I wonder so I'd like you to picture them and your current relationship with them. And I wonder if you would be willing to see them as an ally. That's something that you can choose. And I imagine there'll be all kinds of but that come up. So I invite you to play with your hands, to play with the opposites with this one. I'm willing to see you as an ally. And no way, not with that yard sign that I just saw. And then fear melters, and I'm willing to see you as an ally, and I'm really not. You're the one who's got to change. Why am I always the one who has to change? So you play with that until you get some sense of shifting. And it may not happen, today, it may not happen next week, but my experience has been that my commitment to seeing others as allies actually allows there to become a bridge where we can realize that we are all connected, and we can start turning toward what can we do together rather than what can we do against each other. So playing with the hands allows you to have your opposition and allows a third thing to come through. It's very powerful. We've used it for years and years. And so I invite you to add that into your toolbox. And then play, ah, is to bodify your experience a moment before speaking. And this is it's a kind of a modification of how we used to do bodifying, particularly for the deck. So when someone says something to you, and especially if you get defensive, usually people just ping pong right back. It's like a boomerang, this is about me, but what about you? And, that na, 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 na thing that goes on. And if I let my body speak first, my body always knows what's going on. And so if I just even give attention to how my body is receiving that communication, and letting myself, even if it's just a little wiggle or a shift in my posture, that bodifying allows your speaking to really match what you're experiencing much more. I find it much more effective. And so when you put those three things together, woo, that's very powerful. And I just realized that I've run through a whole bunch of tools today with you. So this might be a good one for you to review because I'll sort of loaded you up today. So, but I don't want to leave until we have a sense of, did we get any kinds of attention that anybody wants in the chat? Did anybody? So, because I'd love to have us
Yes,
do
we
that.
did. Let's see. I saw, where are they? Present attention, where the person is with me and stays with me in the moment. That was.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay, so how about so like you did, just choose somebody, and hope somebody you don't know. That would be cool too. And I'd like you to let your attention just kind of circle them. I'm thinking about how when my cat wants me to give her cream, she circles around my legs and she kind of rubs up against me and she just circles. And then she just sits there quietly and then she might rub some more, but she's not crawling up on me. Like if she's really insistent, she'll jump up on me and go, no, 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 me right now. So I would love for you to let yourself just circle, and so I'd like all of you also to let yourself be circled. So letting the attention be with you and supporting you. It's like having somebody's arm right here on your back, giving you just that support. That's another kind of attention. So you can imagine, even though you can't physically touch, that you can have somebody's back. And that's one of my favorite kinds of attention, is that actually imagine my hand on the person's back. And it's really I've got you, but it's also, you've got this. You've got this. Just be with it. Yeah. So you can use both hands. So, that kind of attention can be incredibly nourishing. And let's try it. Do we have another one?
Another one is soft attention, and then another one is playful attention.
Oh, right. Well, let's put those two together. So soft, because almost always we get attention associated with pay attention, which has a pokey, it's more focused. So what would it be like to just play with soft, playful attention and giving that to someone in the group, letting yourself receive soft, playful attention. So I find that one coming through my breath a lot. So especially letting my breath expand out, I can feel my ribs expanding. and I feel kind of a soft, playful wiggle that wants to come through. So you can give this to yourself, but you can also give it to others. And if you would like some soft, playful attention, go like this with your hands so that we can give that to you. Okay, all right. So I'm going to just sweep through. Who doesn't want soft, playful attention? So I love to, if I'm going into some place, like when I go to the grocery stores, a lot of where I practice this stuff. And so imagine going into your grocery store or Costco or wherever you're going and getting, letting yourself become soft and playful, and then just looking for the opportunities to share soft, playful attention as you're out in public. You can do this presence connect play. I mean, that's what I do when I'm out in public, and come home so refreshed because not only have you gotten your chores, but you've had these interactions that let you know, oh, humans, wow, I'm glad to be a human. Wow, look what we're doing. So increasing, our goal every day for Gay and Me is to expand our capacity to give and receive more love. And so just making it really simple, letting all of these things we've explored today be in service of you, expanding your capacity to give and receive more love every day. Wonderful. Yes, we have some little reminders of that in our spaces. Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much. And I'm going to take my leave now. And please stay and have big talk and give and receive soft and playful love. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Mwah. Take care.